My best friend stole my fiancé 1 week before our wedding. If someone had told me that my best friend would betray me just 1 week before my wedding, I would have laughed in their face. I believe stories like that only happened in movies. But one day I learned that the worst betrayals come from the people you trust the most. My name is Victoria. At the time, I was 27 years old. In just 7 days, I was supposed to marry the man I loved with all my heart. His name was Maxim. We had been together for almost 4 years. He proposed to me during a vacation by the sea. I still remember that evening. The sunset, the warm breeze, the sound of the waves, and his trembling voice as he pulled out the ring. I cried with happiness. I truly believed that a beautiful life was waiting for me. My best friend Alina was always by my side. We had been friends since childhood. Our families lived next door to each other. We went to school together. We attended university together. We shared our secrets, dreams, and heartbreaks. I trusted her completely. She knew everything about me, my fears, my hopes, my plans for the future. When Maxim proposed, Alina was one of the first people I called. She sounded genuinely happy for me. At least, that's what I thought back then. The wedding preparations were in full swing. Every day was packed with tasks. The dress, the photographer, the decorations, the guest list, the menu, the invitations. My entire life revolved around that wedding. Maxim helped me with almost everything, sometimes even more than I expected. Alina was also constantly around. She came with me to choose decorations. She helped me organize the guest list. She even helped plan my bridal shower. Everything seemed perfect. But looking back now, I realized the warning signs were already there. I just didn't want to see them. Sometimes I noticed Maxim and Alina joking together. Sometimes they would have private conversations, but I never thought much about it. After all, they were the two people I trusted most in the world. One evening, the three of us were sitting in a cafe. I went to the restroom for a few minutes. When I returned, their conversation suddenly stopped. Both of them looked at me. Then they quickly acted as if nothing had happened. For a moment, I felt uneasy, but I immediately pushed the thought away. A week before the wedding, everything became chaotic. Constant phone calls, messages, meetings, last-minute preparations. I barely slept. One evening, I needed to send a photo to our wedding planner. My phone battery had died. Maxim was taking a shower. His phone was lying on the table. I knew the password. We had never hidden anything from each other. At least, that's what I believed. I opened his gallery, found the photo I needed, and just as I was about to close the phone, I noticed a folder. The folder was simply named Important. For some reason, I felt curious. I opened it. And in that moment, my entire world began to collapse. Inside were several photos. In the first photo, Maxim and Alina were sitting together in a car, far too close to each other. In the second photo, they were hugging. My hands began to shake. Then I opened the third photo, and my heart stopped. In that picture, Maxim was kissing my best friend. I couldn't breathe. I stared at the screen, hoping it was some kind of mistake, a joke, a misunderstanding, a nightmare, anything. But the photos were real. I kept scrolling. There were dozens of them, different places, different days, different moments, all of them happening behind my back. Suddenly, I heard the bathroom door open. Maxim walked into the room. I was still sitting on the couch holding his phone. He looked at my face, then at the photos on the screen, and instantly turned pale. The room fell completely silent, a heavy silence, the kind that makes it difficult to breathe. Maxim took a step toward me, then another, and quietly said, "Victoria, I can explain." But at that moment, I already knew that no explanation could ever give me my old life back. Because in just 7 days, we were supposed to get married. And I had just discovered the terrible truth about the two people I trusted most in the world. The truth I never wanted to know. I looked at Maxim and barely recognized the man I was supposed to marry. He stood in front of me repeating the same words over and over. "Victoria, please, just listen to me." But I didn't want to hear anything anymore. I grabbed my bag and walked out of the apartment. The cold evening air hit my face. I walked without knowing where I was going. One street turned into another, Minutes became hours. My phone wouldn't stop ringing. First it was Maxim, then Alina, then Maxim again. But I ignored every call. That night, I went to my parents' house. The moment my mother saw me, she knew something was wrong. She didn't ask questions. She simply wrapped her arms around me. And for the first time, I completely broke down. I cried until I had no tears left. The next morning, I woke up hoping it had all been a nightmare. But reality was waiting for me. My phone was full of messages. Maxim begged me to meet him. He said he could explain everything. Alina sent messages too. She claimed she never wanted to hurt me. Reading those words made me angry. If she never wanted to hurt me, why betray me in the first place? For several days, I ignored both of them. But eventually, I realized I needed answers. I needed to know the truth. So I agreed to meet Maxim. We sat across from each other in a small cafe. He looked exhausted, like he hadn't slept in days. There were dark circles under his eyes. For a moment, he couldn't even look at me. Finally, I asked the question that terrified me most. How long? He lowered his head. The silence felt endless. Then he answered. 7 months. My stomach dropped. 7 months. More than half a year. While we were planning our wedding. While I was trying on dresses. While we were choosing decorations. While I was dreaming about our future. They were together, behind my back. And all this time, I asked quietly, you were having an affair? He didn't answer. He didn't need to. His silence said everything. According to him, it started with innocent conversations, then messages, then secret meetings, then feelings. At least, that's what he claimed. But none of it mattered anymore. The worst part wasn't the affair. The worst part was realizing how many memories had become lies. Every time Alina said she was busy, she was with him. Every time Maxim said he had to stay late at work, he was with her. Every smile, every excuse, every promise, all of it suddenly felt fake. Before leaving, I asked him one final question. Do you love her? For a long moment, he said nothing. Then he quietly replied, I think I do. Those words hurt more than finding the photos, because in that moment, I realized something. I wasn't just losing my fiancé, I was losing my best friend. I was losing the future I had spent years building. 2 days later, the wedding was officially canceled. Guests received messages explaining that the ceremony would not take place. Some people were shocked, others started asking questions, but I didn't care. I was too exhausted to explain anything. A week later, I saw them together, completely by accident. I was walking through the city when I noticed them on the other side of the street. Maxim and Alina, holding hands, laughing, looking happy, as if they had never destroyed someone's heart, as if none of it had mattered. I stood there watching them disappear into the crowd, and strangely enough, I didn't cry. I didn't run after them. I didn't feel anger. For the first time, I felt nothing, just emptiness. And in that emptiness, I realized something important. I didn't want to spend my life thinking about them anymore. I didn't want them to control my happiness. I wanted to move forward. I wanted my life back. What I didn't know was that fate had one more surprise waiting for all of us. 1.5 years passed. Slowly, my life began to change. I focused on myself. I traveled. I made new friends. And little by little, the pain disappeared. Then one evening, I received a message. It was from Alina. We need to talk. Out of curiosity, I agreed. When I saw her, she looked completely different. Tired, sad, broken. The first thing she said was, Maxim and I broke up. I stayed silent. Then she continued, he cheated on me. For a moment, neither of us spoke. The same man she had taken from me had betrayed her too. She looked down at the table. Tears filled her eyes. I finally understand how much I hurt you, she whispered. I was selfish. I'm sorry. For years I had imagined this moment. I thought I would be angry. I thought I would make her feel the same pain she gave me. But instead, I felt something unexpected. Peace. Because I was no longer the same person. The pain no longer controlled me. The past no longer controlled me. I smiled softly and said, "I forgive you." Alina started crying, and for the first time in years, I felt completely free. As we left the cafe, I looked up at the sky and realized something. The worst day of my life had actually saved me. If I had married Maxim, I might have spent years with someone who could never be faithful. Instead, the truth came out before it was too late. Sometimes, a broken heart is not the end of your story. Sometimes, it's the beginning of a better one. And that day, I finally understood. Losing him wasn't my tragedy. It was my second chance.